I'm your host, Sky Morgan. I'm joined by
Trisha Walker, co-host, and welcome to the latest episode of
the Youth Voices podcast.
My name is Trisha Walker. I am 19 years old and I use she, her pronouns.
I'm Sky Morgan. I'm 17 years old. I use they, them pronouns. I'm transgender, non-binary, and then we're joined by...
I'm Vary Crawford. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Chief Exec at LGBT Youth Scotland.
Thank you for coming on the podcast. It's great to have you on.
Really, really excited. Thank you.
So, it'll just be a couple of questions, with the first one being, what is LGBT Youth Scotland?
Well, firstly, just a huge thank you for inviting me. I am delighted to be here, and this is much more fun than other parts of my job, so this is an absolute pleasure. LGBT Youth Scotland is the national charity for LGBTQ plus young people aged 13 to 25 right across Scotland. We're here for anyone that needs us, and we support LGBTQ plus young people in a variety of different ways. We run direct groups, so I think there's about 22 different groups a week that young people can access, from Dumfries and the Borders up to Dundee at the moment. But for anyone who can't access a face-to-face group, we also have an online service. They can chat through live chat, or they can engage on a one-to-one basis, or there are online groups as well. So that means anyone from no matter where they are in Scotland can actually come and engage with us, find a community, and hopefully have some fun too. But then on top of that, we also have a whole load of policy work that we do, because young people are fantastic at saying what they need and what they want. So actually we're able to take your voices and amplify them up to Scottish governments, to local authorities and the people that make decisions, to actually try and ensure that young people's voices are represented in everything we do.
That's great. Yeah, obviously, I've seen a lot of the work you do, and it's all really great work. It's really enjoyable.
Why did you want to become a CEO? Like, what's the most appealing thing about it for you?
So when I saw this job, which was nearly 6 years ago now, which frankly is quite frightening, I just saw it and thought, oh my goodness, wow, what an amazing charity, what an amazing cause, something that is really personal to me, but also something where I can actually make a difference, because there's so much you can do that actually to support a group of people, but actually they don't change society. And actually we need both, because particularly the LGBTQ plus community, there's barriers to just living day-to-day life. Is it safe to hold your partner's hand as you walk down the street? And while we can support people on a direct basis, actually we also need to look at the societal change as well, whether that's influencing policy or actually working with organisations so that they're more inclusive. And I thought, I literally saw it and thought, wow, I could do it all at once. What an amazing opportunity. And I also thought it'd be really, really fun. And to be honest, it has been. It's been it's been really challenging, but it's been really, really fun. And a lot of that is getting to work with young people and actually being able to make a difference on their behalf.
It's good to hear. What's your most memorable moments at LGBT Youth Scotland? Like, what's the highlights?
I've got a few. And people would probably expect me to say seeing gender recognition reform pass in Scottish Parliament, and while that was a huge highlight, that's almost been taken away from us by the current state of affairs. But I do remember sitting with a group of trans rights youth commissioners in with the Cabinet Secretary, and them holding that Cabinet Secretary to account for trans rights for young people, but also actually for people nearing the end of life, and actually just listening to them and how eloquent and how strongly they put across that argument, and seeing it having that impact on a really senior politician in Scotland was so powerful. I came away from that just feeling amazing. I didn't see opportunities like that when I was young, and just being able to see that and look at the difference that made, that was an absolute highlight. And then the other ones actually have been attending some of our youth spaces at Pride. And if I think about Edinburgh Pride and knowing that we've had 1,000 young people coming through our door in one day, and just wanting this amazing safe space, and it just being absolutely filled with joy, that's been another absolute highlight as well. And I know I've just said one there, but I mean, we do them all over Scotland, and they're just fantastic. Probably two of my favourite.
Yeah, I was at Edinburgh Pride last year. I got this non-binary little bracelet thing, and I have not taken it off. I got it at Edinburgh Pride, and it's still been on there.
That's good. That shows the impact.
Yeah, It's really great. I went to the space. I used the quiet room and stuff, and it was very nice. It was very very community driven. You know, it was for the young people.
And that's one of the most important things for us. It's actually having that space for the younger community that isn't necessarily driven by alcohol. And it's finding ways to engage so that people can explore their orientation, explore their identity, but also have a heck of a lot of fun while maybe meeting some new friends. And Pride's a fantastic way to do that for the first time and actually find out a bit more. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It really is. So more on LGBT Youth Scotland. So you're working on the youth work report, I believe, at the moment. And so are you able to sort of say anything about what will be included in that or a possible publication date?
So it will be published in the summer. I've been told not to give you a date because then we have to stick to it. But no, we will have it out in the summer. What I can say is that we've had some great responses back, and some really, really positive messages coming back from young people in terms of the impact and engagement that our services have. What's in there? Well, the questions we ask are about our services and what young people need. And we typically, and this year again, have a really high response rate in terms of young people feeling more confident, a greater sense of connection and community. But also, actually, it's really interesting. Young people saying that actually because of that, they then maybe have been able to apply for college or for a job, and actually use the skills that they've engaged just through coming to group or one-to-ones, in actually taking positive steps in their lives. And I'm now going to refer back to our strategy, which is that every LGBTQ plus young person should have the opportunity to flourish and thrive. And for us, that means that no matter where you start from, you get to flourish and thrive. And for some people, that will mean that actually they get to walk through the door of coming to group. But for other young people, it'll get to be that you become an NMSP and get nominated for Diversity Award Sky. So it's all different. And actually, what's really nice in terms of the youth work survey is it actually shows that no matter everyone's individual progression sort of grouped together, and it is that young people are finding a positive impact, that they feel that sense of community, that they are able to look at more positive destinations, that their mental health improves. And for us, that's really, really important. I cannot give you the stats. I'm not allowed to yet because we're still analysing them. And we're still running through everything, but it will be published this summer.
All right, that's great. Thank you for sharing that and sharing as much as you could. So, on more recent news around sort of the Supreme Court ruling and stuff, I believe LGBT Scotland published, I think, was it like a joint statement around it? What are your thoughts on that Supreme Court ruling?
That's a really, really difficult one. There are so many ramifications and impacts from that ruling that it's really challenging. And this is my personal opinion, so I'm taking off my professional hat right now. Personally, I'm absolutely gutted. I cannot believe that's the outcome. And I think professionally we're allowed to feel that as well, actually. I personally believe that the Supreme Court ruling could be really damaging, not just for the trans community, because it's much less safe, but it also, actually, for me as a cis feminist, I feel threatened by it because it's moving back towards a more patriarchal society, which I don't think is beneficial. I think they're putting my work hat back on. So I think we can understand the full ramifications of that Supreme Court ruling for quite a long time. And I think what's most important is for the trans and non-binary community to know that actually personally and professionally, so me as a human and LGBT Scotland as a whole, we were always LGB with a T. We will always be LGB with a T, and we're always going to be here for you, no matter what. There will always be a safe space, and that's hugely important that everyone knows that. And we will work, because young people are telling us to challenge this. Now, we also recognise that might take a long time because we need to understand what the impacts first are before we can start addressing them. But actually, this is detrimental to the trans community, and we want to make sure that that is addressed in time. Unfortunately, we do recognise it's not going to be a quick fix. And actually, we're going to need to do what I'm going to call damage limitation for a while, because people are looking at that very narrow ruling, which is literally about the definition of sex within the Equality Act, and a very narrow ruling about single-sex spaces and the single-sex exemption. But they're actually taking that and broadening it and saying, oh, it needs to apply to this, that, and the next thing, and it doesn't. So actually what we're going to need to do as a community is fight that and do damage limitation, but also then look at what we can challenge and where we challenge it. So some people will be challenging, for example, the EHRC interim guidance, but we also need to recognise that that's not gone through the UK government, it's not had any scrutiny, it's not had any extra sort of external views or consultation, which it has to have. And we know we've got an opportunity to influence there. So actually we're focusing our energy on being ready for that and then challenging that when that comes out, rather than focusing on the interim work at the moment. So overall, it's pretty awful. We don't know the full fallout of it yet. We will work with young people to make sure their voices are heard. We'll work with Scottish Government, we'll work with Westminster to try and ensure that young people's voices are represented. And we will support challenge where we can to try and redress the balance in time. But as long as young people know that we're here, we're always here, our doors are open. You can find us on the website. You don't have to come along to a group physically. We can chat to you online via email, via text. And if you need that support, we're here. Then that's the most important thing for me right now.
Yeah, it's always a great message to try to spread.
Yeah, you spoke a wee bit about this, but is there any other messages you want to send out to LGBTQ young people at the moment?
Yes. So one of the lovely things that have come in, well, you have the message from you, we're here, we love you, you're safe at LGBT Scotland. But actually, what's been really, really nice is since that announcement, we've been getting lots and lots of lovely supportive messages coming in. And we've had people going, oh my God, that announcement's horrific. We want to make sure you're here to support LGBTQ plus young people, particularly trans young people in that case, in the future, and they've been donating. But actually the messages that come along with that are just amazing. And just one example from someone, so times are tough, keep your chin up, there's lots of love out there for the community. And that's just a really nice sort of example of that. We've had loads and loads and loads of them, of actually people just turning around and going, we love the trans community, we love the LGBT community, we're here. And that's absolutely brilliant. And I think in terms of other messages, look at the protests and look at how many tens of thousands of people have been out, and take heart from that. Because while there is a minority who are looking to change things not for the better, the vast majority of the public are here and in support. So I think that's another really, really important message for young people right now.
Those are definitely great messages to spread, and you want to sort of hear that, especially during times that are a bit more difficult. It's always good to sort of know that. The final question is, do you have anything else you want to promote, LGBT Scotland, etc.?
I've got a couple of things, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the first one is a couple of opportunities for young people, actually. The first one is Pride Youth Games, which we support every year and are lots and lots and lots of fun, as well as being a fantastic opportunity to try different sports, funded, and meet a new community. And it's in Larg this year, so it's in Scotland. So if any young people are listening to this and going, oh, I'd really like to go and try something, and actually because everyone there, because it's a Pride Youth Games, everyone there's queer. So actually it's a really safe environment to try new things. It's a really, really good idea, and it's also lots and lots and lots of fun. So that's the first one. And the second one's a really interesting opportunity, which is a programme called Empowering Voices. And that's a UK-wide project that we're doing, where we're looking to work with artistic young people to create artwork or stories about their experience of being LGBTQ+. And we're going to put together a physical book of tales and artworks from everyone, with a residential in July this year, which will be down in Cheshire. We've got 4 themes where the artwork and stories can come under, which is queer joy, finding community and friendships, self-discovery, and light in the dark. And we're asking anyone of any age to submit artwork and stories, but it must be inspired by something that an experience from when you're under 18. And it's a really nice opportunity to come and work with us, find out about us, and also work with young people from Ireland, England and Wales, because it's a 4 Nations project. It's actually a national project. And then also if you're under 18 in July this year and you want a residential trip, then you can come and engage and actually maybe get a trip away out of it as well. So that's 2 really nice opportunities, I think, for young people. And then the other one, I think, maybe is just to remind everyone that we've got our Proud campaign coming up. And that comes back to these lovely messages of support. And we're calling our Proud campaign, It's Giving. Now, when we run a campaign, yes, we are always trying to look for donations because we want to make sure our services are here. But right now, if you think about its giving, it's also a really, really important message in terms of kindness and being kind to one another and being kind to ourselves. Because when we've got this environment with the Supreme Court ruling and all of this uncertainty, actually giving in terms of that act of kindness is so important. So I think that's something I'm also really excited about, because we're in May at the moment, Pride's next month and all summer, and having an opportunity to give, no matter how you do it, whether it's your support to someone else or whether anyone is able to support financially, that's so powerful that I think that's a really important thing that I want to flag as well. And the artwork, because our designer is amazing as well. That's going to be really, really cool when it comes out.
Yeah, those are great opportunities. Thank you for sharing those opportunities. I will make sure everyone gets to hear it. Is there anything else you want to say before we do our outro?
Apart from a huge thank you for this, because I'm actually really enjoying myself.
It was great to have you on here as well.
It's absolutely brilliant. I think for the biggest thing for me is for all of the LGBTQ plus community is that you're seen, you're valid, we're here, we believe in you, and if you need us, find us. www.lgbtyouth.org.uk, if I can remember our website. But actually, we're here, we want to support, and we will always be here for you. And that's probably the most important thing for me.
And if you know what I look like, you'll see a very familiar face when you go on the website.
Absolutely.
But anyway, so once again, thank you for coming on. To everyone listening, thank you for listening. Check out LGBT Youth Scotland and all of the amazing opportunities the Vary has just promoted. We hope you sort of feel safe in this space. We hope this is created, just even if it's a short 10 to 30 minutes of safety and comfort, that you enjoyed that. If you have any thoughts or questions, feel free to send us on Instagram, theforgottengenerations.podcast. Thank you for joining us again, and goodbye.
Hopefully you had a good listen to this podcast's latest episode. Goodbye.
Thank you very, very much for the time, and goodbye.